Yeah. But before we close, you know, just as we hear any cars and thing passing, so let me talk to you a bit about cars. I know you started off pretty good when you started investing in vehicles here.
Yep.
You had a Honda RSX.
Yeah, but that's what you call it. That's the
Integra.
the Integra DC5.
Yeah.
Lovely car.
You had it.
Before that, I had the small light Honda Civic.
Right.
Yep, with my the spoon this and the VTEC controller and
Right.
I remember that. Yeah.
And then you had a S15.
Yeah, S15.
Yeah. And then somehow you end up running off the track. I don't know what went on here. Why, you know? I mean,
I know where you're going.
Is it that you were homesick? You were missing home, so you needed to get something from across on that side? I don't know. Talk to me.
My brother, well, one of my brothers, he's like me, a real petrol head. And he had a Lotus Mercedes. That's before McLaren was involved in them. And that was a lovely car. Really was a lovely car. And when I was in England, before I came here, I owned a 323, I think it was, or 325 BMW and a Golf GTI. Those were the two cars I owned at that time. And when I came to Trinidad, I took a practical approach. I noticed that everyone was driving Japanese cars, which wasn't really the norm. Although when I was in England, I owned, I don't know what you call them here, but they were CRXs,
right.
Honda, 2.5 seats or something like that.
Yeah.
And they used to, now the reason I owned one of those, because they used to have that, they were racing those in England. There was a championship. Those cars, lovely cars they were, really nice cars. So that was that. So I didn't really have a problem with Honda. Never really a Toyota man. But looking at what everyone was driving, the availability of parts, and the fact that I do like to drive, it made sense to go Japanese. But then I think that I went European because I know European. I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay.
And they give you better ride, unless you go to the high-end Japanese cars, Lexus.
Even Toyotas give you wonderful rides as well.
Yeah, but who wants to drive a hairdryer? So, if you're going to go Japanese, it's got to be Honda. Yeah, everybody knows that.
No, Toyota, but okay.
No,
Okay.
No, Karen, please. Okay, you're on camera. Okay. So unless you're going to edit this bit out, don't say things like that. Okay. Honda. Think Honda.
But I don't know what it'll be so another one because Toyota right now, giving you the most Honda power, the 2JZ, your ride in Toyotas right now is unbeatable in coming out of Japan. So I don't know what you'll be sent on for.
No. You have to drive. You see, the thing about Honda, is Honda acknowledge that there is Grandma Agnes that likes driving Honda. So you have to give Granny something that she's comfortable in and something that, she's happy to drive. And because they know that, they give you that reliability, that smooth ride, they give you the efficiency, they give you everything that you could possibly want at a fair price. But they know there are those people out there that deserve more. So they give you these aftermarket parts, readily available, easily accessible, simply installed. And then you can turn that Honda into a proper driving machine. Because I'll tell anyone, when I used to drive that Honda, the car in front is me.
But Let me put it like this. Now, you say I don't believe in statistics, so I don't want to say this part.
Then don't say it.
Right? No.
Don't say it.
But okay. Even if the statistics are skewed, Toyota was the number one or the most reliable car in the world for 8 or 9 years running, right? And the thing is with Toyota, let me tell you about Toyota. As you say, Honda, they give you this nice, reliable car, whatnot. And if you need more, they have these parts available. With Toyota, all you need to do is just mash a little more. That's it. That's all. You just need to press a little further down, and that's it.
You forget, when I bought that Honda, I was in Chambers, myself and Paul Cham, and he, real petrol head. He bought the Celica. He used to have a black Celica. And he went and bought, I can't remember the aftermarket ignition system that he bought. But I just put the Hondata on mine. And that was it. That's the only, so he had was it the Apexi?
Right there.
That. And I did the Hondata. And I went and saw my little friend Kess, and he put it on the rolling road, he tuned it up. Full Champ went to his little buddies, went on his little rolling road, put his up. I slaughtered that run every time. Every time. Both of them were 1800s.
But that's which one? That's the
Well, mine's a 2 litre. I accept, but at that stage, it was the engine.
So the RS6 is talking about now.
It was the engine that gave you remember, it broke the record in terms of the amount. It gave you, was it 1 horsepower for each cc? Mm-hmm. So it was giving you 200 at the flywheel, and it was a 2 litre. I
would admit that engine, which is the K20,
yes,
the K20 is Honda's biggest accomplishment. Don't get me wrong, the B16 and the B18, they were good. But the K20,
exceptional.
Definitely one of the biggest accomplishments.
Yeah.
Right?
In keeping with Honda, I might add.
But in terms of Toyota, Toyota does not have a 2 litre. They don't have a 2 litre engine that would compare with that in terms of power. It would be the 3S, which
and
won't.
That's the end of the conversation, isn't it? What more can you say?
Well, I guess in baby power, in baby power, yes.
No. You see, I remember when I was working on that Honda, the return on my investment was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, because you didn't have to bore out anything, you didn't have to skim anything. All we did was port the inlet to the head, putting the manifold, the little gasket to cool down the temperature, and streamline the exhaust. Now, you could not improve on the exhaust manifold. What do you call them? Downdraft? What do you call the manifold? The exhaust manifold?
The extractor.
Extractor. You couldn't improve on that. I remember doing all the research. It transpired all the aftermarket ones gave you less performance than the one it came out of the factory with. But what they did say was that you could use a slightly bigger bore. You had to take out a catalytic converter and smooth out some of the curves, and you were laughing all day long. The rest of it was just simple suspension work. You couldn't upgrade the brakes because you couldn't get bigger brakes. Mm-hmm. And that, you had to change all the bushings to the
polyurethane.
Yeah, polyurethane. Mm-hmm. And you'd have to put the engine, that little shocker thing on it, the shock thing.
Yeah, the brace.
Yeah, the brace. That car, with the launch control, the progressive limited slip diff, those 6 forward gears so closely matched, that, it was as if, when you got into that car, it's as if you put it on. Yeah, it's as if you put it on.
Listen, I would concede defeat in this because of that one car. That Integra is the only car, in my opinion.
Would you say it was the exception?
Right?
Would you say it was the exception?
Yeah.
And you know what they say, don't you? It's the exception that makes the rule.